Okay, so this is part two of reasons to buy W2 Peugeot 508. Talking about the models produced from 2010 to late 2017. Okay, so the part one video I talked about the a few reasons why it's good to buy a W2 if you are interested in the vehicle. And so now this one I want to talk about the power, because those who have been following me online will know that I do mention that the W2 is not necessarily a quick car, especially the petrol ones. So however, it could also be an advantage. In other words, I mean, it could be a strength, and also be fast, even faster than some of the cars I compared with it at the time. And that I mean, what I mean is, it could be faster than 406 V6, 407 V6, 607 V6, and every other Peugeot vehicle with V6 engine. Even though the stock power is much lower, but it can make it higher without spending fortune on increasing the power. So that's what I want to talk about now. So if you want to buy, uh, if your reasons why you are not reluctant to buy a W2 is because it's not as quick as the previous V6. This usually the ones that people that are coming from the V6. Maybe your previous car was 406 V6, 50, even 505 V6, um, 607, 407 V6. Yeah, you probably may not find the power of the W2 up to the pair of your previous car. But if you are coming from these other smaller engines, natural aspirated, like EW engines, at least excluding the EW10J4S, sure, yes, you might find the W2 petrol, the W2 with petrol engines very quick, and you could even assume that it's quicker than V6, So, so yeah, that's what I mean. You can make yours faster than the V6, so it's a plus. Now, how do you go about it? So that's what I want to talk about in this video. So we have two ways you could increase the speed, the power of W2. Remember, the W2 petrol ones have a series of turbocharged engines. The one is naturally aspirated, that's VTR 120. Forget about that engine on the 508. I have my reasons, not necessarily just because of the engine, but like I said, it's a different thing altogether. But let's focus on the turbocharged ones. Those are the ones you focus on. Those are the ones you should buy. So the petrol turbocharged ones, because these are the ones you can actually increase the power and gain something meaningful to make it even faster than V6 without consuming as high as V6 with the higher power. So two ways you can modify and increase the power is by remapping the engine ECU. So when you remap the engine ECU, what it means is you remove the engine ECU, give it to technicians who are knowledgeable. In fact, there are people specialize on that. So they will flash and edit your engine ECU. Now usually they will copy the programs there, then edit or restore it, or remove completely and restore something else. I don't know. I'm not a specialty on that area, so they know what they do. But what I mean, they will edit your ECU, flash it or do whatever, put something else to make the engine release more power from the engine. So so that's one way of going about it. And the risky part is it could damage the engine ECU if not properly done. So the safest way of doing it is buy another ECU. Don't use your original engine ECU on the vehicle for this. Don't make that mistake. Um, uh, Depends anyway. For example, if you are living in Nigeria, you may not be able to find where to do that kind of modification. So the only option you have is is to have the ECU shipped outside Nigeria. Um, to They have companies that do that in the Western world and every other Asian countries and the rest. So go online, find out where the companies, if they agree, you ship it to them, they do it and ship it back to you. You plug it back on your vehicle. So the best way of doing it is buy another ECU and send the spare ECU, the one you purchased, so that when they finish and bring it back, you remove the original one and put. If it doesn't work, you probably could chip it back, but at least you know your factory or your stock ECU stays intact. Nothing happens to it. If it, because you could send it, it could get lost in transit or get damaged. So um, it's the most expensive part of modifying or increasing power, the mapping. And by this, I mean, in fact, sometimes it has stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, depending on how much you are willing to spend and the technical know-how of the person that is going to do the upgrades of the engine power. So sometimes it could require decarting the car, um, upgrading the high fuel pressure pump, um, uh, or changing the injectors to performance one, or even changing the turbocharger to the bigger one that will increase the pressure or flow of air. Yeah, I could go on and on. Or I could get a point you might have to open the engine, change the con rod, change the pistons, the rings, the camshafts. I mean, like I said, it all depends on how much power you are willing to push out of the engine. So as it's going up, you have to change some internal components because at that time it's no longer safe for you to use those components for such power. So otherwise it will damage the engine. So those are it's most like the most expensive way of going about it. So the second one is what I want to focus on today. Second one of increasing the power of these engines. That is chip tuning your engine ECU. Now, when I talk about 508, I'm not limiting it to 508. I'm generalizing it to all Peugeot vehicles that use these turbocharged engines. So, but at least you have idea what I mean by saying W2. So, it means you have a 308 T7, 3008, 2008. There are so many of Peugeot cars, even 207. So many of Peugeot cars have this THP engine, so you can do exactly what I'm explaining here to increase the power without doing any big modification on the car that could tamper a lot of things. So now we have a company that produces a secondary ECU. I consider this an ECU, even though it's still an electronic module. It's an engine ECU. It's not like a stock one. So what it does is it controls the engine ECU or how to increase the power or whatever. So that as soon as you disconnect it, the engine ECU continues on. So it doesn't try to alter or edit the ECU. You just send a different signal that the other sensors usually will send, and with that ECU uses it to increase the power. So Chip is a well-known company in the world, not just in the West. So they are very good when it comes to shipping engine ECU to increase powers. So what I'm saying here is not just in theory. So I've gone to reviews. I'm going to show you some of those reviews, the sites where you can go and read them from people who have used this product. And also I've gone to videos of people who have done it and they did a dyno. That's a test to show the stock power, and then after they put this product on their vehicle, this module or the ECU, So they did another dyno test and now show that truly there was a big, depends on how you call it big anyway, but there was a significant change in terms of power or difference between the stock power and then the power with the less cheap module. So this a well-known company, and so far they seems to, of course, even on the reviews there are some negative feedbacks there, but then of course when you look at some of the ones there, you could tell, okay, maybe this one made a mistake somewhere, or there's a problem. It can never be a perfect transaction all the time. So okay, so back to this. Now for the chip tuning, this thing is a plug and play. You don't need any technician to do it for you. It will make your engine safe. It will allow the engine to exceed the safe zone. No matter how you try to increase the power, it will allow the power to get to a point that it will damage your engine. However, it will still increase the power beyond the torque. When I'm talking about power, I'm talking about the horsepower and the NM torque, new meter torque. So if you're interested, so what you do is you come to the website. I'm going to put a link on the video description so I can come and do your own research. So I've already selected the brand, which is Peugeot. So let's leave it here. Then you come here. Of course, I've selected Peugeot. So you can go. You see all the listed Peugeot vehicles there. So all the Peugeot vehicles you see there is only, they offer their products only for the first inductions one, at least for Peugeot vehicles. So I've gone to, I didn't see anyone with natural aspirated engine. Okay, for example, let's check 407. So let's go to the engine. Now you can see all the engines listed there are diesels in 407 because they didn't produce a turbocharged or supercharged 407 petrol engine. So that's why you have only diesels. So let's just go back to the 508. You can see there are so many other brand models here. 308, this and that, 3008, but like I said, so we have two 508 listed here. Version 1 is the first the W2, which is 2010 to 2018, while the version 2 or 508 is from 2018 to date. That one is R8, that's the model. So let's go to the W2, which is 2010. So now choose the engine. Okay, so on the engine you can see you could see different HDI means diesel, THP means petrol. So you can see that the maximum power among the petrol on W2 is 165, which I could say basically 163, but let's just leave it 165 horsepower. I think that 165 you get it from the facelifted W2. That's the one produced from 2014 to 2018 or 2017. So that's where you get that 165 per se. Okay, so now let's look at, they have about 4 products for this particular W2 with this engine. Now the first one is a tune box, which I still call it a ECU, but doesn't mean it will work with your stock factory ECU. So you are not disconnecting your factory ECU, just plug in something and it will take over somehow. So this particular one is the model is GTS. So you can see it can give up to 35 horsepower, and that's what I mean up to, I mean additional 35 horsepower. So for this car that has 165, so it means you have about 195 horsepower increase. Makes sense? I mean, trust me, even 10 horsepower it makes a lot of difference. Then may not be that much different, but something you can easily tell. Then the engine torque addition of 72 horsepower. Trust me, this torque is even more important than the horsepower, especially on a turbocharged engine. So remember the original or the stock torque is 240 new meter torque. So additional 72 makes it what? Almost 200 and is it 202 or thereabouts? Yeah, 202. So having over 200 horsepower or at least 200 torque already exceeded all the V6 Peugeot produce, at least for the production cars. Because I know for the ES9A, the torque is 290. ES9J for 285. And so on. At even the 505 V6, the torque is about is it 245 or 235, something like that. Within that range. Basically, it has almost the same torque with, I can't remember, either 245 or 260, something like that. So it, so this one now will give you more torque than every other Peugeot V6 engine that ever produced, even that of ES9J4S. No, ES9J4. So, and including other PRV engines. So the torque is the game changer here for me, because what this means that additional 70 new meter torque means you can you don't necessarily need to downshift to gain very fast speed, to increase your speed very, very rapidly while you are in motion. So any gear you are, you could just press the throttle a little bit and boom, you could just quickly overtake. So by pressing the throttle, by not pressing the throttle harder means less fuel for higher speed, or less fuel when you're higher speed. So you find that you basically don't need to push your engine too hard to go very fast, because if you start pushing hard, then you are pushing out the HP. In that case, fuel consumption will increase. So that's the advantage of this. So what I mean is, with this package, the GTS with 34 additional 35 HP, additional 72 Nm, trust me, no V6 will see your back. No V6 production car, Peugeot vehicle, and speaking specifically Peugeot vehicle, V6 will see your back. So even though, yes, the HP is still not as high as the V6, however, that V6 petrol. However, with the torque, man, they won't be able to. The torque will, by the time the V6 will push up because of the higher HP, you've already gone very far. Because remember, these turbocharged engines, especially the THP engines, their torque, their huge part of the torque, if not, it's like the entire torque of 240 comes up very low at lower RPM. So it pulls you very, very quicker. So imagine with 200, I mean, man, you could, oh, I'm getting it wrong, 300, not 200. I was saying 200 new meter torque. I mean, of course, 240 plus 72. So that makes it 312. 312. So imagine 312 torque, 312 versus 290. Come on. So, and remember, natural aspirated, the full torque doesn't come in earlier. I mean. So it takes, you have to push up the RPM before it comes in. Okay, so that is it. I'm not saying you don't necessarily need to push the V6 that hard for the torque to come in, but what I mean, the force inductions comes in much earlier. The full part of the torque comes in much earlier than the natural aspirated V6. So, but of course, if you don't modify like what I'm just showing you, the V6 will still beat, because the torque difference, the HP difference is that much. Okay, so moving on. And of course, W2, the weight is not that doesn't have small weight like that. And then the aerodynamics is not like I'm not sure it's the best among these project cars I've listed out. So okay, so but this particular one, this is the premium. This is the premium box package. So you can see it's about $400. To me, it's fair price, consider what you're going to gain. So if you are buying a W2 and spend add additional $400 to make it very fun or more fun to drive than currently or as designed from factory, come on, it's worth it. So of course, all these things can be, the advantage of this box is you can, it has options. If you want the car to move for fuel economy, is there. If you want it to move in a sports mode, make it more aggressive, is there. They want it to behave, like, in fact, it has a three economy, sports, and race. So it's now up to you to choose the one that's give you the full power that this package has to offer, or the one that will be in between, which is the sports, and then the one that is just for normal drive for economy. So for what I've gathered from people who gave testimonies after using this for days, weeks, months, even few years, it shows that there is I couldn't say reduction, significant reduction of fuel consumption, but I could say from what they were saying that you gain more power without excess fuel consumption. So you get more power, but the fuel consumption doesn't exceed probably what it was before. Or you sometimes you even almost a little bit less than, especially like if you choose to drive in less fuel economy mode. If you choose fuel economy mode, then it means it will even consume less than the stock uh, control. So all these things you can be controlled via the app. When you buy it, you download the app, connect with your phone. I think Android and all this iPhone. I'm not sure, but the instructions will be there. So from there, I can be controlling which one you want. I can always deactivate, remove it, and you have the option to maybe when you are done with one car, you want to upgrade, change the vehicle. You can also disconnect it, put in another vehicle, and pair the two and start working. Increase it as long as the vehicle you are buying or you are upgrading to is also listed here. You know, yeah. But I think you have only one option for one car, as in for one. So you can only use it for two vehicles, not at the same time. But I think what they mean is after you are done with this one, you can use it. You have another chance to for one car. So after that, then that is it. Anyway, there are so many features from this particular package. You can, when you enter the site, you can find that yourself. The second package here is RS. This one is GTS. So this other two bus is RS. So this one for the 165 HP THP engine in W2, it give you additional 30 HP and additional 60 Nm torque. So it's not up to the premium one, but at least it's something close. So it doesn't have all the features like the one of the premium. So but this one you can get it as less price, 300 euros, while the premium one is 400. Personally, I'll go for the premium one. I mean, $100. Yeah, it's big. 100 euros. I mean, it's big, but considering what you are going to gain, I don't think it's too much to add additional 100 euros. If you are going, you can as well get it right or enjoy it to the full. Okay, so there's another package. This is the lowest. This is X. Remember the first one, the premium is GTS, the middle RS, then this is S. So this is just additional 20 HP plus 48 Nm torque. That's what you gain. Personally, I wouldn't bother with this because okay, it's very cheap. What about 180 euros? But come on, if you are going all the way to boost your okay, it's already boosted. The engine is already boosted, but to increase the power, can I'm sure just go all the way. Why trying to do this? Because what might happen, we might end up spending about almost, look at it, close to 200 euro. Only to realize that, man, is not, you didn't even see, you are not going to see any significant change because of a small gain that this package is offering. the vehicle. So you'll be wondering, okay, if you are known, now you may have to spend additional $400 or euro to not get, the premium one. So if I were you, but anybody, we all have their different, because no matter which of the package you want, they all have that mode, the fuel economy mode. So maybe you're not interested in power, you just want the one that will reduce the fuel consumption for you. Fine. So then there's another one which is not actually a toolbox, but this is the pedal commander. I know I've done videos on this. So the pedal commander um, can also enhance enjoyment of driving the vehicle. Um, to enjoy driving the car with pedal commander, this one you connect it on the pedal. There's a way it's done. So the pedal, you now be it will change the signal that goes to the ECU to control the motorized throttle body and the rest. So it makes it, in other words, much more responsive. Especially this is for mostly like if you use a 407, 307, all those cars that have electronic throttle pedal, you could tell there's a delay when you want to press at the accelerator, whether you're in motion or stationary. It doesn't respond immediately. The response is kind of, I won't say sluggish, but when you compare it to that of like 406, yeah, there's a big difference when it comes to responsive or unresponsive acceleration. So this can serve in that purpose. However, like I said, this they didn't release naturally aspirated for their own products. There are other companies that produce toolboxes that actually did for naturally aspirated. But what I've noticed is there's not much gain if they are not actually forced induction, not to be charged or supercharged. I think usually you are looking about maybe maximum of 10 horsepower, maybe 15 to 20 torque, something like that. That's I don't know, but well, that's how I feel, because um there's not much on the engine that can actually boost it unless you start changing the internals inside the engine. You know, maybe you could even get more power when you do the remap, but then you stand a chance of damaging. I don't know. There are some engines that can actually handle so much power, naturally aspirated, like that V6 engines. Yes, people have done it. They turbocharge it, and it was able to handle so much power without changing any internal components in the engine. I'm talking about even up to additional 100 horsepower. Yeah, they were able to do that. But then, of course, they were to be charged or supercharged. So, but sometimes it requires changing the internal like EW engines. You just have to change some of the internal components for it to handle such speed. Likewise, TU engines and the rest of the engine, even SU engines. So the pedal commander can serve. There are other brands, companies that produce pedal commander, more like a universal ones that can serve basically Peugeot's, other Peugeot cars or so. So do your research. This doesn't increase the power. Let me put it. It doesn't increase the horsepower, the torque of your car. No, but it makes the acceleration much more interesting. You enjoy it. Trust me. I know cars that when they are there, when you modify, for example, 406 V6, there's a way you could, if you leave the accelerator pedal, not the pedal per se, on the accelerator position sensor, there's a way you adjust it to the stock. It looks very sluggish. When you adjust it to, and to be more responsive, wow, you enjoy driving one, also one that had that kind of it's not a modification per se, because it's the option is there for you. Make it more interesting, make it dull, so it's up to you to choose. Okay, so that is it. So you can come here and select which other brand. So let me go to the um let's see. Okay, so this is the site. We have a lot of reviews. People have bought it, they put their what they've experienced and the rest. Positive, negative, they are all there. So you can go through it and see if it interests you. There are so many of them. I've not gone through half of this. I've not read the but for what I've seen so far, it's very encouraging for someone who is interested. Then you can visit, you go to YouTube and do a search on race sheep, and you could find so many positive feedback. People doing videos after doing the installation and realize, man, no, there was a big change. There are people also who did installation, but they bought this product installed. Wait, and they did dyno before they did installation. Then after installation, they did that. They could tell the huge difference in terms of power gain, and even while driving, they could tell. It's not about how it failed. No, it's they actually it was very obvious to them. So the product work. So a lot of people they will tell you it doesn't work. If you don't remap your car, it's just nonsense. Don't listen to people. Listen to people who actually have done it and can tell you, yeah, it works, and find out why did it work. Some people might not work on them. Maybe they didn't install well, or maybe their car were not listed, or there's a problem with the vehicle. Well, because if there's an issue with the injection system, the ignition system, how do you expect? It's just like I said, I call this ECU. No matter what you do, if there's a problem, your car will not work well until you fix the problem. So when people, most time, they will not tell you exactly. They will just keep pushing blame to the component as if that is the issue. Okay, so that is it. So, and then there's another thing that you can do to enhance your driving experience on these THP engines, not just W2508. All there's something I did for a client, which is I modified this electro valve attached on the turbocharger on his THP 163. So there's a module, not a module self, more like I'm going to put a video description there. Something I bought from UK, ordered it online, and use it to modify that electro valve. We call it dump valve. So that's the name. So modify the dump valve, and man, you could tell the difference between that car and every other Peugeot car with THP engine I've driven. I mean, the response to acceleration is, even as you're pressing it, the car is zooming as in, as if it has a two-door turbocharger. Doesn't mean it increase the horsepower, no. But I mean, at least you can be able to get most of the power at much lower RPM. Of course, eventually the ones with higher power will still, for example, V6 is still quicker, but then at least, the reason why I do emphasize on, modifying or making the car as quick as possible is you find out that you will consume, in fact, it will consume less than those who push so hard for the car to gain significant speed and burn so much fuel. While you, because of the power the engine possess, or ECU, it makes the engine to unleash, you realize that you don't even need to press hard, because I keep coming back to what's it called? Let's go back to this. I still coming back to the torque. The torque is very, very important on a forced induction engine, because I mean, you could take off, you could overtake very, very quickly on gear 5, gear 6, without pressing your throttle down. I mean, that's what I mean by torque. As you are taking immediately, so by the time the HP comes in, you have already maintained the momentum. So you see that your fuel consumption will become low, rather than the one that tried to push out the horsepower to gain speed. Yeah, the horsepower might be that huge, but then you realize it will burn more fuel. Not every one of us is interested in fuel consumption or the rest. I am not. I just want the goddamn power. So, but it's up to you. I know a lot of people, usually their first question, priority, does it consume more fuel, this and that. So at least this one, you can still maintain the normal fuel consumption with more power for you to have fun with. So yeah, so do your own research, and now it's not like these two videos I've done, part 1 and part 2, on reasons to buy W2508, doesn't mean my preaching of this means I want to buy one. No, far from it. I I don't have any intention at all to ever own W2. I have my reasons. For now, believe I'm done with. In fact, I've lost interest in newer uh, saloon Peugeot cars produced after Z9. So right now I can only go for the coupe, the hatchback, basically the coupe now. That's where I am. But at least worst case scenario, hatchback. But for now, I'm done with their saloons. I have my own reasons. Doesn't mean they are bad. I can only go for saloons of their older cars, but not their newer ones. Not because of that they are badly designed. I'm just me. I have my reasons, so I don't want you to follow my own reasons unless you feel we share almost the same spirit when it comes to driving experience. Okay, so yes, I also have intention or plan which I'm working on, to eventually maybe one, who knows, maybe more than one Peugeot vehicle with THP engine. So I'm just telling you, don't get discouraged because it's not too fast. The aftermarket W2 is not as fast as 406 VC. You can make it now faster than 406 V6 without 406 V6 even seeing your pack. All you need is 400 euros, and that will be it. Very, very easy to install. You are not messing, you are not cutting any wire, you are not removing, you are not disconnecting anything. I don't know how to put it. Yeah, you remove one plug in this one, but it's not like you are going to cut this wire. Because I hope this helps.